If I did not get the tax, I will add that amount tax also and I will sell the product to the customers. Once I get the machinery, once I get the raw materials, then only I can claim for input tax credit. Ultimately, the burden has to be borne by the customer. That's why in order to avoid these things, GST came to effect. So we should have all the bills and related documents to claim for input tax credit. Hello my dear students, I am your Ajay sir, faculty, Department of Commerce and Management, Vidyashram First Grade College, Mysuru, a Temple of Excellence. My dear student, in today's session, I am going to handle the subject Indirect Tax 2 for 6th Sem BCom and the topic is Input Tax Credit. Now let's go to the first slide. So what do you mean by Input Tax Credit? So what do you mean by input tax? See, input tax on the purchase of raw materials. See, to produce any goods, we need raw materials. Okay. So, while purchasing, we have to pay the tax. It may be any article, any goods or any other products, we have to pay the tax while purchasing. So, in the business, I'm a businessman. So, I have to produce an article or some goods. Okay. For that, I need raw materials to production. And also I need capital goods, I need machineries, I need other raw materials. So for this, while purchasing raw materials, while purchasing machinery, for that I had to pay the tax. For example, I am purchasing machinery costing rupees 1 lakh rupees for the business purpose. So using this machinery, I can produce the goods. Okay. So what is the cost of the machinery? 1 lakh. So on this, I have paid 10% tax, for example. So 10,000 rupees tax I have paid on the input. So input means goods coming into the business. So goods coming into the business is called as inputs. How much I have paid the tax? I have paid the tax of 10,000 on the input. And also it may be other raw materials I have paid tax like that. So okay, this is the 10,000 rupees I have paid the tax. Okay. After using this machine, I have produced the goods. And after production of the goods, I had to sell the goods. So I will add the value for that product. So it is increasing the value or adding the value for the product. Again, I will sell the goods for 2 lakh rupees. I have produced the goods and sold the goods for 2 lakh rupees. In selling, I had to pay the tax. So let's assume 10% is the tax. Let's assume 10% is the tax. So what is the rate of tax? 20,000 is the tax. Already on the input, I have paid the tax of 10,000 rupees. For the output, what is the tax on output? It is 20,000 rupees. It is 10% on 2 lakh rupees. The output tax is 20,000. The input tax, how much I have paid on input? 10,000. So in the electronic credit ledger, so there will be a provision for us to deduct the tax what I already paid. What do you mean that? See, I can deduct the tax. I can get the credit for this. I can get the credit or I can deduct the tax to the extent whatever the tax already I have paid on the input and remaining tax I have to pay to the government. See, once again I am repeating. Already I have paid the tax of 10,000. Now in the output I have to pay the tax of 20,000. So I can reduce or I can deduct the tax to the extent of 10,000. What the tax I have already paid. Remaining tax 10,000 rupees I have to payable. So output tax is 20,000. So what is the tax I have paid is 10,000 rupees as the tax on the input. That means raw materials or maybe machineries, capital goods. I have paid the tax worth of 10,000. On this I can get the credit. I can get the credit up to 10,000 rupees. So utilizing the credit, I will deduct the 10,000 rupees and remaining 10,000 rupees tax I have to pay able to the government. This is called as input tax credit. So whatever the tax I have paid on the input, I can get the credit to the extent of the input tax whatever I have paid. That amount will be called as input tax credit. So where you can find input tax credit? So there will be a mechanism called electronic credit ledger. So whatever the tax you have paid, it will be, because you will be having a PAN number in conducting a business. So whatever the tax you have paid, it will be, all the information will be in your number. So it will be, the tax authority will having all the information regarding the how much you have paid the tax, what is your worth of input, how much you have paid the tax on the input, and how much you have credit in the electronic credit ledger. So on the base of electronic credit ledger, I can understand how much input tax credit available for me to reduce the tax. So remaining amount I have to payable to the government. This is the concept of input tax credit. Why we need input tax credit? What is the use of input tax credit? What happens if I did not get the input tax credit? See, these are the fundamental concept we have to understand. So in order to avoid the cascading effect, or it is cascading effect, so we need the input tax credit. What do you mean by cascading effect? The cascading effect means tax on tax. For example, here already paid the tax of 10,000 rupees. If I did not get the credit here, I will sell the goods adding my profit and tax. I will sell the goods on 2 lakh rupees is the cost of production including tax, plus tax already I have paid equals to 2,10,000 rupees. I will sell the product for 2,10,000 rupees. Again, the tax on tax, already I have paid the tax of 10,000 rupees. Again, I have to add the tax on 10,000 rupees. 2,000 rupees extra I have to pay the tax. If you keep on adding tax on tax, it will increase the burden on the ultimate customers who will pay the tax. So who has to pay the tax? Ultimately, the customer or the consumer have to pay the ultimate tax or ultimate burden. He has to bear the ultimate burden. So if you keep on adding tax on tax, in every stages they will add the value for the product, and again they will sell the product. In every stage the tax will be including. I am the middleman between production or the producer and the customer. So if I did not get the tax back or tax credit, whatever I have paid the tax to the producer, if I did not get the tax credit, so I will add that amount also and sell the goods to the customer, because I cannot pay the tax from my pocket. So I have to add that amount also and sell the product to the customer if I did not get the credit. So it will leads to increase the actual price of the asset or actual price of the product. Ultimately, the customer has to bear the tax here. So that's why, so when I get the tax, what I already paid, so if I get that amount back, so I will not add that amount. I will sell the product to the extent whatever added value is there. I will add the value and also I will add the cost of purchase or cost of production plus whatever value I added. I add both the amount. I will sell it to the customer. So if I did not get the tax, whatever I already paid to the producer, I will add the tax amount also to that and I will sell the product to the customer. So it leads to increase in the price of the product. So that's why we need the input tax credit. One of the important flaws of indirect tax system was its cascading effect. Already explained you, cascading effect means it is a tax on tax. If the middleman or the customer or the producer did not get the tax, whatever the tax he has paid to the producer or the other person, if I did not get the tax, I will add that amount tax also and I will sell the product to the customer. So ultimately it leads to increase in the actual production cost and also other price of the product. Next one, in the previous system, the credit was not available for the taxes already paid at the various stages of the supply chain. For example, I am producing the goods in the Tamil Nadu and also have to sell the goods in Karnataka. See, earlier there was no one tax system throughout the country or single system throughout the country. So because of different states were having a different types of tax system. So whatever even though the goods are produced in the Tamil Nadu and if it is sold in the Karnataka, it is very, very difficult to get the tax. It was very, very difficult to get the credit from the government because it was produced in the Tamil Nadu and it is also selling in the Karnataka. So the seller in the Karnataka was difficult to get the credit from the Tamil Nadu government or Tamil Nadu tax system. It may be vice versa. If it is produced in Karnataka, sold in Tamil Nadu, here also it is very rigid system to understand and also it is very, very difficult to do the procedure of the different types or different form of government. Next one, the beauty of the GST system is the availability of seamless flow of credit throughout the supply chain, leading to removal of cost cascading effect on tax. So because of GST, since we are having a single system throughout the country, so it is very easy to do the procedure and also follow the rules and regulation by the government and tax authority, and also we can claim the tax even though the goods may produce anywhere in the country and sold anywhere in the country. So since we are having a single system throughout the country, it may be Tamil Nadu or it may be Kerala, it may be Karnataka, Andhra, it may be produced in any part of the country or it may be sold in any part of the country. So it is very easy to claim the credit from the government. So ultimately all the information will goes to electronic credit ledger and also PAN number, whatever the transaction we have done in the business, how much input is there or how much input cost is there and how much output or what is the actual price of the goods while we are selling, how much value added. So it is easy to understand by the tax authority. The tax authority can easily understand what is the actual production cost and how much value added. On the base of that, they will provide the input tax credit. Next one. So input tax means tax paid on inward supply of inputs, capital goods and services. So input tax means it is a tax paid on the inward supply. It may be raw materials or it may be machinery or it may be any other service, so which helpful for the production of goods. Okay. Next one. The tax paid on inputs are available for set off against the taxes payable on outward taxable supply. So whatever the tax, even though I have produced for 50,000, the tax is 10% means 5,000 rupees I have paid the tax on input. It may be material or it may be cost of production or it may be other service or it may be machinery. So any article we have purchased in order to produce the product, we have paid the tax of 5,000 rupees. So while selling I have to pay the tax of 10,000 rupees. So I can get the credit or I can deduct the tax of 5,000 rupees already I have paid. So I can reduce the tax to the extent of 5,000. Remaining tax is payable to the government. So this tax credit is called as input tax credit. So here the tax paid by the inputs are available to set off. Set off means deduction. Set off means deduction from the total tax payable. Next one. Meaning of input tax credit. What do you mean by input tax credit? According to section 2 subsection 62, the input tax is relation to the registered person. So who can get the input tax credit? Only the registered person can get the input tax credit. Means the central tax, it may be central tax, state tax, integrated tax or union territory tax charged on any supply of goods or services or both, and includes the IGST charged and payable on import of goods, taxes paid under the reserve charge mechanism, but does not include the tax paid under the composite levy. So input tax credit is a credit which is available for if you paid, you might have paid the central tax. For that also input tax credit is available. State tax also input tax is available. Next integrated IGST integrated tax, for that also input tax credit is available. Union territory tax is also included, and also reverse charge mechanism also included in the input tax credit apart from composite levy. Reverse charge mechanism and composite levy you have studied already in the previous semester. Apart from composite levy, the input tax is available or input tax credit is available for all other taxes, whatever the taxes paid by the business person. Next one, according to section 263 subsection 63, input tax credit means the credit available. So as per the section 2 subsection 56 of CGST Act, input tax credit means credit of input tax. So it is a credit for input tax. In other words, it means set off of input tax with the output tax. So deduction of input tax with the output tax. Set off means deduction the input tax or deduction the amount which is already paid to the input while paying the output tax. So ITC is the core concept of GST. So in bringing the GST to the effect, ITC is the important concept or very important point. So because of the cascading effect only, because of the different states were having different rules, regulations regarding the tax system. So in order to bring the single system throughout the country, in order to reduce the burden on the customer, so where he has to pay the tax on tax, already the businessman paid the tax. On that tax also, the middleman will pay the tax. Again, on the middleman tax and business person tax will be included to the customer. On that, customer has to pay the tax to the extent of some percentage. He has to pay the tax. Ultimately, the burden has to be borne by the customer. That's why in order to avoid these things, GST came to effect. Next one. Now, eligibility and conditions for taking input tax credit. So, who can take the or who can claim the input tax credit? So, what are the eligibility? What are the rules and regulation to claim the input tax credit? Let's see here. So, only registered person can claim input tax credit according to section 16 subsection 1. Only registered persons. If you are a registered person under the tax authority or under the tax law, only registered person can get the input tax credit on the sale of goods or on the output tax. And also, if you are not a registered person, so you may not get the input tax credit for the production or the whatever the business activity you do, you will not get the input tax credit if you are not registered person. Next one, he should be in possession of tax invoice or debit note or such other tax paying documents as may be prescribed. For example, during the output tax means during selling we have to claim the input tax. So before that we should be having all the documents, bills and other debit notes for the purchase of the raw materials, purchase of the articles, purchase of the machinery to produce the goods. So after producing only we have to sell the goods. So to production we have already used the raw materials, we have already used the machinery, we have already used the any other services for the production. So we should have all the bills and related documents to claim for input tax credit. So if you go simply and ask, sir, I have paid this much of amount in production, please give me the credit, they will not give that or they will not entertain that type of system. So they will ask the proof, the tax authority will ask the proof. We should be having all debit notes, any other documents and other bills in purchase of raw materials or it may be machinery and other services while production of the goods and services. Next one, he should have received the goods or services or both. So already he should receive the, for example, I am the business person, so I have to produce some goods or articles. So I have ordered the raw materials, I have ordered the machinery. So once I get the machinery, once I get the raw materials, then only I can claim for input tax credit. So not the goods in transit. So not on the goods in transit. Since for example, if I not receive the goods only, if I not receive the service only, I could not claim for the input tax credit. It should have been received by goods or services or both. So you should receive the goods. For example, if the goods are still in transport, so we cannot ask for input tax credit. Next one, the supplier should have actually paid the tax charged in respect to the supply to the government. So what do you mean by that? The supplier has to pay the tax. Whatever the tax is there, the supplier has to pay the tax. Then later you can claim the tax. In case of if you supply to the government, so it get delays because there are so many provisions, there are so many procedure are there in case of if you sold the goods to the government. So after you supply the goods to the government, we can claim for the input tax credit. Next one, you should have furnished the returns under section 39. So section 39 says the returns or other documents, it may be GST or GST regulation documents you have to return. So under section 39, we have to complete all the procedures, all the returns should be filled. Returns means information, we have to provide all the information to the tax authority regarding our business, our procedure and our output and input. So those only person who have finished or furnished the returns under the section 39 can claim for input tax credit. Next one, when goods are received in installment, ITC can be claimed only when the last installment is paid. So for example, I have purchased the goods, okay, I have purchased the raw materials or the machinery. So once you did all the installments, for example, the seller has given the 4 or 5 installments. So once I paid all installment, at the end of payment of last installment, I can claim for the ITC. If I did not pay any installment in between or in between payment of installment, I cannot go to the authority and claim for input tax credit. The tax authority will not encourage those claims, input tax credit claims. until if you pay the last installment. So once you pay the last installment of the all the actual cash price or the cost price of the asset, you have to pay all the installment, all the money to the supplier. After you paid all the money, you can go to the tax authority and claim for input tax credit. Next one, no ITC will be allowed if depreciation has been claimed on tax components of the capital goods. For example, it is a machinery or it may be fixed assets like that. So if you have already claimed the depreciation on the capital goods, ITC is not available. Now, what is the next point? Let's see. Where the goods against an invoice are received in lots or installments, the registered person shall be entitled to take a credit upon receipt of the last installments. For example, I am selling the goods to third person. So when I can claim the credit? So after receiving all the installment, it may be purchase or it may be sale. So I can get the input tax credit only receiving the full installment from the product. I can claim the input tax credit. So in between receiving the installment, before receiving all the installment, I cannot claim for input tax credit. Next one, the payment should have been made within 180 days from the date of issue. So what do you mean by that? So what do you mean by that? 180 days means 6 months. So after purchasing the assets or after selling the assets, the payment has to be made within 6 months or 180 days. So after 180 days, if you pay the amount and claim for ITC, it is not available. It is not available. It may be from the part of purchaser or it may be from the part of seller. The payment has to be made within 180 days. Then only you can claim for ITC. Other points. What are the other important points? Let's see. If tax paid on inputs more than tax paid on output, ITC can be either carry forward or refund can be claimed. For example, I paid the tax on machinery for 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees I have already paid the tax. My output is or my output tax is 5,000 rupees. See here, I have paid the tax of 10,000 rupees. It may be machinery, raw materials and other allied products. I have paid the tax while purchasing the products and raw materials. Now while selling, only I have to pay the tax of 5,000 rupees. So whatever the excess tax you have paid, so deduct this 10,000 rupees. That means whatever the excess tax you have paid, 5,000 rupees, this can be carried forward to the next year or next time. So while paying the next tax, for example, next production happens, again we have to pay the tax in the next year. So then I can reimburse this amount. Then I can get the reimbursement of this amount, or this is called as set off and carry forward. Set off means deduction. Carry forward means I can carry forward to the next year. While paying the next year tax, I can claim the benefit of this 5,000 rupees. Next one, the balance tax after claiming the input tax credit shall be deposited with the government by 20th of next month in the GST or 3. So GST returns 3. So what I mean by that? The balance tax after claiming the input tax credit shall be deposited within the government. So whatever the balance tax is there, for example, now I have paid input tax credit is 10,000 rupees. Now the output tax is 15,000 rupees. So remaining 5,000 rupees, I have to pay this 5,000 rupees within 20th of next month. For example, this is the last day, 30th of this month. I have claimed this 5,000 rupees. I have to pay the tax to the government. So it should be paid within the next month, 20th. This amount should be paid to the government. So otherwise the ITC is not allowable. Next one, GST paid under the RCM, reverse charge mechanism, can also be claimed as ITC. What are the reverse charge mechanism? If you sold the goods or purchased the goods on the basis of reverse charge mechanism, in that particular supply also can claim ITC, input tax credit. Next one, ITC can also be claimed on capital goods. Capital goods means machinery or any other products for usage of the production of goods. So for that capital goods also we can claim input tax credit. Next slide. Apportionment of credit and block credits are ineligible inputs under section 17. So what do you mean by that? Let's see. These are the cases and they have given the ITC eligibility. Now, if goods and services used by registered person partly for business purpose and partly for personal purpose. So if the goods, for example, if a machinery, so I'm using machinery for personal purpose partly, 50% of the machinery or 50% of the one day I will use for business purpose, another day I will use for no business purpose. It may be car. If you purchase the car for business purpose, then you can claim the ITC. So now, while claiming the ITC, 50% of the car is used for the personal purpose and a 50% of car is used for the business purpose. In this case, so whatever the car you used for the business purpose, so for that portion of that particular car will be, you can claim for the ITC. For example, if the car is 10 lakh rupees, 50% you used for personal purpose, remaining 50% means 5 lakh rupees used for personal purpose, remaining 5 lakh rupees will be business purpose. On the 5 lakh rupees we can claim the ITC. Next one, if goods and services used as a input by registered person partly for a production of their taxable supply, including the zero rated supplies, and partly for the exempted goods or services under this act. So if it is a partly for zero rated supply and partly for exempted supply, in this case how to claim the ITC? Amount of credit shall be restricted input tax attributable to the side supply including the zero rated supply. So if you are having a zero rated supply and side supply, the input tax credit is not applicable, is not attributable. Next one, banking and NBFC, that means non-banking financial companies, financial institutions is engaged in supply of services by way of accepting deposit, extending the loans and advances. In this case, how to treat the input tax credit? So they can opt for above provisions or they can avail 50% of eligible input tax credit on the capital goods if they are doing business, or if they are selling or purchasing the capital goods. So if they are providing the loans facility for the capital goods, they can get the 50% of the input tax credit. And also input tax or services on monthly basis. On monthly basis, they can collect the input tax credit and the balance will go into lapses. So remaining balance, they cannot get the input tax credit on the remaining balance. Next one, note number 1. Input tax credit is available only on the goods and services used for the business purpose. So if you are using the goods for personal purpose, so input tax credit is not available. So only if you should use the goods for business purpose only, it may be car or it may be any other machinery, any other article, only for the business purpose, only for the production purpose or providing the service to the customer. So if it is a personal purpose, so if you are a consumer, ultimate consumer, you cannot claim for ITC, input tax credit. Exports and of supplies to SEZ fall under the category of zero rated supply. So if you are sending goods to SEZ or export, so that should be considered as a zero rated supply. It is not taxable only. So when it is not taxable, so no question of ITC, no question of ITC. Next one, ITC is available on zero rated supply and taxable supplies but not exempted supply. So ITC is available for the zero rated supply. See, when the tax is zero, what is the question of paying the tax? So there is no ITC. There is no ITC until when the tax is zero. If the government increases the taxes, for example, see, sending or exporting is a zero rated supply. It is not exemption. It is a zero rated. That means government has reduced the tax to the extent of zero, to the extent of zero. There is no tax. So one day in future, government may increase the tax to 5 to 10%. So then you have to pay the taxes, and whatever the taxes you paid for the business purpose, then you can claim the ITC. So exemption means it is completely exemption. It will not come under tax preview. Next one, documents related to ITC. What are the documents you needed to claim for ITC? So the ITC shall be availed by a registered person, so including the input service distributor, on the basis of any of the following documents. So they should be having the following documents. On the basis of the anyone following documents, input tax credit is allowable. So an invoice issued by the supplier. For example, I am a business person. I have imported a goods, or I have purchased a goods from a supplier. For that I have to claim for ITC, whatever the tax I paid on the machine, So I should get the tax back. So if I have a invoice or it is a bill document, if I have that invoice, I can produce that invoice to the ITC or tax authority. I can claim for ITC. Next one, invoice issued by a recipient. If in case I am selling the goods, so invoice will be issued by a recipient. The receiver of the goods will give an invoice with agreeing a supply. I have supplied this much of goods to him, so he will accept the invoice and return the invoice to me. That invoice also agreeable for to claim the input tax credit. Next one, debit note issued by a supplier. What do you mean by debit note? So debit note means it is a document where the seller is sending a goods on credit basis, and also if he is now sending a goods return, then he has to issue a debit note. Debit note is a document like billing or an invoice. If you are having a debit note also, that is enough to claim the input tax credit. Next one, a bill of entry or similar documents under the Customs Act. So bill of entry is a document where you get the in the export of import of goods. So it may be similar documents, other documents which is proof for importing the goods and exporting the goods. So those documents also you can provide or you can produce with the tax authority. Next one, an SID invoice under rules 36(1). So if you are having a SID invoice also, it is okay with the tax authority to claim for ITC. Next one, in the next session we are going to discuss on the blocked credit or the ineligible input tax credits. On what basis the tax authorities will avoid giving the input tax credits. Who cannot get the input tax credit, who is not eligible to get the input tax credit. These things we will discuss in the next session. Till then, thank you so much.